Parliament's out for summer, but we'd still like to connect with our MPs. So how do we find them? Where are they going to be at this summer? What do they care about and what are they doing? So let's take a look at how we might research our MPs. Now, this will be a snapshot of this moment in time, what we find, but it will be also a good template for doing research anytime. So first of all, there is a website called Our Commons, where all the MPs are listed across Canada, and you can search by postal code to find your MP. On that website, there'll be a work tab, and you can dig into a little bit about what your MP has been doing recently there. And there'll be a contact tab. On the contact tab, usually you'll find a website listed for your MP. And when you go to that website, ideally there'll be some events listings and also some news so that you can see what your MP has been up to. You can also sign up to get updates and follow their social media feeds. Also, when I did some of this research, I noticed some of them had some special initiatives, and I'll show a little bit about what I mean about that later on. So offline or outside of your MP's websites, you might try checking some community news sources, like, for example, your city councilor's newsletter or your local paper. And if all else fails, it doesn't hurt to actually contact your MP's local office and say, are you hosting any events? Or are you coming to any events? Is there a way that I can actually meet you in person and say hello? So now let's look at some MP lookup examples and do a walkthrough or two. Starting with a postal code, let's see what comes up. First person that comes up for me is Arif Virani, who is Parkdale High Park MP. And you can scroll down on this page and you can see his roles. He has some big roles. He is Minister of Justice. He's the Attorney General of Canada. That means that Arif is likely very busy, but also a decision maker. So it would be very good to let him know what you care about and what you're concerned about. I'm going to go to the work tab and show you what that looks like. You can take as long as you want researching here, but for the moment, I'm just going to look at the bills he's sponsored. And they do have to do with the Criminal Code and Justice Review Commission Act, which makes sense given his role. So now you know just a little bit more about what he's been involved in currently. And then if you go to the Contact tab, this is where you'll see if they have a website listed, and Arif does, so let's click on it. So this is a very generic liberal template website, and you'll see that most of them have event listings on them. And if you're lucky, ideally, the event listings will be up to date. Arif's is fairly up to date. There is nothing for the summer, but it'd be worth coming back and checking. Another thing you can do is actually sign up to get updates so that you know that you're in the loop. Let's go back and look at a second MP. All right, so I have British Columbia coming up here, Elizabeth May. Let's check her workout. She was involved with the National Strategy Respecting Environmental Racism and Environmental Justice Act. And we know Elizabeth May is very keen on environmental action. And this is just another example, one of the most recent ones. On the contact page, you see there is no website here. So in this case, I was just looking her up. And yes, there's actually a website. It's just not listed on the government site. And what I find interesting here, event listing section. She has a lot of events listed. Now, she is a very busy person, but this might be a way to plan to try to be somewhere where you might get a chance to meet her in person and express your concerns. Under the contact team section, you can see that she does have a team, so it might be possible to talk to one of her team members or to meet one of her team members as well. Back in Ontario, in Peterborough, let's take a look at Michelle Ferrari's information. She is part of the Human Resources, Skills and Social Development and Status of Persons with Disabilities, as well as the Status of Women committees. So she has some strong interests there, and you may be able to connect on a mutual interest in that way. And here's her recent work. She doesn't have any bills currently. You can take a look at other things if you feel like it, trying to figure out what she's up to and what she cares about. On her contact page, she does have a website, and there's a way to sign up right away on the front page. And here's the summer mailer. And look at this. She is having a kickoff party on June 29th. That may be a great way to meet Michelle in person and let her know what you care about and who you are. I'm going to look up one more, Charlie Angus, and he's in Timmins, James Bay area. And you can see that he is on the Standing Committee for Natural Resources. And of course, natural resources are linked to the environment and the transition that we need to make. So there's an access point there to talk to him. Let's look at his work. Oh, wow. He was involved in the Fossil Fuel Advertising Act bill. The one that called out greenwashing for the oil and gas companies. He's certainly keyed in to environmental work. On his contact page, what I really liked about his website is his Get Involved page. If you scroll down, there are many ways to take action. There's a way to sign up, ways to connect. Also, if you look at his contact page, he has hours that are open to the public for his office as well, which is another way to touch base, to maybe see where he might be and where you might be able to meet him during the summer. Now I want to highlight some special things and initiatives I found while I was searching. This is Ariel Kabaya. She's the MP for London West. And I found her feed rich with things that she's been at recently and things she's involved in and making note of. So this is a good way. Social media feeds can be a good way to see where your MP is at, where they've been at, they might be at, and if they're posting anything recent for you to see. Now for Warren Stanley, the MP in Regina, what I found interesting was there were lots of ways to do surveys and engage that way on his site. You can even tell him what issue you'd like him to focus on or represent for you in Ottawa. For Mike Morris, who is the MP for Kitchener Centre, I found his newsletter very informative. There's lots about what he's up to, what you can engage in as a constituent, and here there's a Let's Chat box. So he's very accessible. He's available to chat for 15 minutes with his constituents. If you can't find out how to meet him in person in the summer, you've got this option. And finally, jackpot. Here we have, if you're in Calgary, George Chahal is having a pancake breakfast. So save the date. And here's a way to meet him in person, maybe have a moment or two to connect and to share your concerns. So just to end with showing you the contact information for us at Environmental Defense, and you can reach out at any time to the volunteer email and we'll try to help you if you need help, or you can share any ideas or any finds that you're making as you explore how to connect with your MP in the summertime.